So the story I'm about to read is a story I was messaged on Reddit that apparently pairs well with Pinot Noir, which is what I will be drinking tonight. Just based off the title, this is about to be a wild ride. It's called Why I Stopped Working for Rich Pedophiles. Well, looks like we're gonna find out why this guy finally decided to draw the line. Let me start this off by getting one thing straight. Fuck that psychopath Roger. If he could have just controlled himself, or stuck to a plan, or had a plan, then no one would have to die. I don't know how many pedophiles you've encountered, but I think one of the big problems that comes along with them is that they can't control themselves. So I don't really know what's going on here. I know most people would slide their shifting moral scale over to judgment when they hear what I do for a living, but it swings right back the other way when they go to the butcher for a pound of stolen flesh. The cow would still call it murder, and the butcher would call it a paycheck. My guess is that you file it under tasty? My God. So when I get a salary for doing what other people would put in the evil category, just remember that someone else would be doing it if I weren't. And that 10 people in third world nations died of starvation while you read these words on a $1,000 toy? Why are you trying to justify working for a pedophile? Like, there's no way you can possibly spin this around. Oh, well, if I wasn't doing it, someone else would. What the hell kind of shit logic is that? And this job is balanced by its risks. Given enough time, they'll bite you. Oh, so there's more risks than the fact that the guy's a pedophile? I don't know why Roger got his rocks off from chasing down kids. I'll be straightforward and admit that I have a thing for fucking women in Star Wars masks. Do you have any desire to share the kinkiest shit you've ever requested from a partner? No. You didn't even have to say that you enjoy fucking women in Star Wars masks. I would have been totally fine not knowing that. Anyway, my job wasn't to judge, but he was just so fucking pushy. Damn, bad enough your boss is a pedophile, but God forbid he's also pushy. How the hell did you even survive working for this guy? He had laced these shitty brownies with enough sedatives that I wondered whether he was planning on killing the kids outright. That seemed reckless enough. But then he brings in this girl who's around 8 years old and starts feeding her then and there. I mean, what the hell? We hadn't planned on starting until the next week. We just tortured some yuppie couple because Roger thought they'd have a couple million in cash stored somewhere. Turns out that they only had a fistful of jewelry and an Aston Martin that we can't sell because it's too hot. Man, bad enough your boss is a pedophile, he's also pushy and he's disorganized? Where does it end? Anyway, Roger takes this little girl into our blood and guts room. Why do you have a blood and guts room? Why are you making this sound so casual and normal? I don't think any of my bosses have ever had that. Which still smells like death warmed over? Is that where you killed the yuppie couple? Is that why it smells like death? And neither one of them bats an eye as he feeds her one of the brownies. The thing is, she hardly bats an eye afterward either. I mean, what the fuck, little girl? That brownie should have been enough to give permanent limp dick to a silverback gorilla. Wow, nice imagery there, thank you. But she just chomps it down and starts texting someone? Oh, that's right, we're in the day and age where 8-year-olds are texting. That shouldn't be what stands out to me in this story. Oh man. Roger asks her, "Who are you texting, Jamie?" And she says, "My dad is almost here." And Roger turns as white as a sheet and he says, "You mean this house?" And the girl says, "Yeah, he should be coming up the driveway any minute." Oh shit, Roger, you are fucked right now. This is why I don't like working with Roger. Do tell, sir. Help me understand why you don't like working with Roger. I'm intrigued right now. I just met him last week, so I've been working security with him and this silent fellow named Mort for a couple of days. Super boring. Good money. No complaints, but I think Mort might be a fairy and that shit straight up weirds me out. You think Mort might be a fairy and that weirds you out? This is what's wrong with America, right here. This shit, like, everything else is fine and dandy looking the other way, but oh God forbid, the other guy I'm working with who's helping me torture couples and help our boss molest kids might be a fairy. I definitely need more wine for this shit. So Mort, Roger, and I each grab an Uzi from the floor. Roger has handpicked our security equipment because as far as I can tell, he has an endless supply of cash and thinks that we're in a G.I. Joe cartoon. I have to shake the fucking rats off of mine because Roger insisted on leaving the yuppie's dismembered body parts on the ground for all the world to see, and that attracted the local wildlife. What the fuck? Roger had only paid half the week's pay up front, so I had to stick it out. So we run to the window, and sure enough, there's this skinny looking guy with brown hair that comes running up the driveway. I figure we should play it cool, but Roger, in his infinite brilliance, says, "Light him up!" and fires out the open window. Oh my God. This doesn't sound real. Now, I may have mentioned that Roger's an idiot. He can't handle the top-heavy Uzi and starts painting the ceiling with bullets. I figure that it's all gone to shit. Too late to go back, so I join Mort as we shoot the running man right there in the driveway. Poor bastard didn't have a chance. At least he shouldn't have. I watch his tore-up body twitch, then sit up, then stand up. Like he hasn't taken a dozen rounds from the only good thing to come from Israel? So Mort and I take aim again, and this fucker jumps and lands on the porch. It had to be 30 feet, and that's when I nope right the fuck out of there. What? What is happening right now? This guy sits up after being shot, stands up, and then jumps 30 feet on a porch? Hell, I would have noped the fuck out of there too. I sprint for the hall and decide that hiding is a better tactic than running from Mr. Jumping Man. I trip on the ground and drop the Uzi, but figure correctly that every second counts and I leave it behind. So I find a hallway closet, dive inside, and snuggle up real close to some coats. I sit down, and that's when I remember we threw Mr. Yuppie's head in the closet. I was using him for a stool. He was still bloody. Like, oh, I forgot. We threw the yuppie guy's head in the closet. And lo and behold, I was using him for a stool by accident. Damn it, he was still bloody. And anyone who's ever worn swim trunks knows that the crotch dries last. But I'd be a fucked salamander if I was going back into that nut house. Where are you getting these metaphors from? A fucked salamander? I just have to wait it out while Mr. Yuppie's squishy viscera dried on my taint? What the fuck? Like I said, the window was open, but Mr. Jumping Man apparently doesn't give a shit because I hear the window explode and a human-sized object hit the floor. The growling, though, that doesn't sound human at all. I don't even know where this one's going. I hear Mort scream, and the Uzi starts firing, and then both of them just stop. Roger starts babbling like he's trying to strike a deal, but I can tell he's probably shaking like an altar boy all alone after church. I hear a growling sound, and then silence. I think it's all over. It's not all over. Now, I want you to imagine the sound of Scotch tape being pulled, combined with the noise of thawed chicken getting peeled apart, mixed with the sound of a boot being pulled out of mud. It's fucking gross. You know, on another note, I just have to say the journalist in me really appreciates this vivid imagery and stylistic writing. This makes the story so much weirder, but so much more fascinating at the same time. Then I hear Roger scream, and in that moment, the only thought in my head is, and I thought Mort was the fairy. This weird growling is the only response, and Roger starts babbling, and then he screams for me to help him. I nearly shit my pants. And I piss myself just a little because I know Roger's going to die. And he knows it too. That's when the tearing sound starts again. And fuck a duck. It's slow and paired with screaming. What the hell kind of expression is that? Fuck a duck? I've never heard that before. That's weird. I don't ever want to hear that again. Fuck a duck? No, I don't want an image of anyone fucking a duck. Let's just forget about that. Every so often, I hear what sounds like tree branches cracking. After enough years in my line of work, though, I know it's the sound of long bones bursting like wood in a campfire. Snap, crackle, pop. No, you did not just do that. No, my childhood's ruined now. Why would you do that? Roger's sobbing is punctuated only by the sound of aggressive vomiting, which is always immediately replaced by more crying. I can't say I blame the guy. It sounds like a fucking terrible way to die. I'd have the barrel of my gun halfway down my own throat right now if I hadn't dropped it, because fuck that noise. Right now, Roger gives this almighty shriek that might make the hair on my balls stand straight up. And there's a sound like 3 dozen lasagnas all hitting the same spot on the floor. His crying cuts out right then and there. So I figure this is it. I'm going to exit this world looking like the goop that shoots out of a Play-Doh spaghetti maker. Then I hear the girl talking again, and I realize she must have seen all of this. "Daddy, are you okay?" she asks. "Just get me home," he says, and he sounds tired as all fuck. I mean, hell, I don't blame him. Like, that sounds exhausting, jumping 30 feet, crashing through a window and murdering 2 people. Would you know? They just got up and left. Normally, I get the fuck out of Dodge when the workday is done, but I'm having none of it. I just sit and wait for the cops to show up and find me in the closet with a severed head, because I figure that's the safest of all my god-forsaken options. I sit there for a solid 2 hours in the near silence. You know that sound trees make when water sloughs off after a rainstorm dies out? There's the occasional drip that lets you know the whole world has been saturated. Well, I had to hear it, and I figured out pretty quickly that it was Roger's parade guts that were plopping down from the ceiling into the blood below. From the sound of things, the living room had to be covered in an inch of standing blood. Eventually, though, I get to thinking that the crazy family may come back for me, and that spurs on me, so I decide to leave. How are you gonna stand here and say that they're the crazy family? I mean, I get that. Father comes out of nowhere, barges through a window, murders both the people you work with. But I mean, come on. Your boss is a pedophile. I have to pass through the living room in order to get out of the hallway. I'm not looking forward to it. It's bad. I was right about the standing blood, and decide that I'm going to have to throw away my entire outfit just because I walked through that shit. Something seems wrong with the walls, and it takes me a second to remember that some parts of it used to be white instead of completely red. I was correct about the dripping guts. One fat raindrop of red splashes down on my cheek. A second somehow gets in my ear, and a third lands on my neck and slides down to my ass crack. Oh my god. Ew. As far as getting 10 feet of intestine stuck to the ceiling, I've got no idea what body part has the adhesion powers to do that. In retrospect, I should have been looking forward instead of up, because I'm taken off guard when the furry thing flies across the room and hits my face. Oh my god, I don't even want to know what that is. Oh. I brush it aside and stare as it swings back and forth like a pendulum. When it crests back my way, I finally understand that it's Roger's hair. He had been scalped. A thin string of skin and what appear to be nerve bundles attach it to the chandelier, which allows it to swing lazily back and forth. That's when I try to run. That's why I slip. That's how the nastiness creeps into my underwear as I lay on the floor. I'm pretty sure some chunks found their way in my clothes, but I don't stop to empty them out. I want to be done. I crawl through the blood and finally get to the front door, where I slip back and forth as I struggle to turn the knob with my wet hands. When I finally get free, I sprint through the night as fast as I can, hop in my car, and start driving to another state. Shit, I would have done the same exact thing. Good for you, narrator. Good for you. I have to stew in the dirtiness for a while. Everywhere is itchy, but it's not like I can pop into a Love's and grab a shower when it looks like I fucked a grizzly bear. 2 hours pass before I can stop at an unknown crossroads and try to clean out the worst of things. The small of my back has been just so irritable that I reach there first. My suspicions are confirmed when I feel a mass of something making a splorch as I slide my fingers through the coat of my coagulated blood. I pull the mass out for further inspection. Oh shit, what were you suspecting? That's how I found out what happened to Roger's severed penis. And that's why I no longer work for rich pedophiles. Well, there you go. It all comes full circle. Now we all know why narrator doesn't work for rich pedophiles anymore. This is the reason. I mean, this is kind of on you, in a way, because... Actually, no, not in a way. This is all on you. Because you decided to work for a fucking pedophile. And this is where you draw the line. Because you're like, God, I don't want to deal with that. A crazy family again. Okay, whatever. So, if you enjoyed that story, subscribe to my channel. If you want me to read one of your stories, or if you have a story suggestion, feel free to message me on Reddit. My user is samkuso17, or you can just message me here on YouTube. That's totally fine. But yep, that was why I stopped working for rich pedophiles. I'm just gonna finish the rest of my wine because that was some weird shit.